Goff threw for 2 touchdowns versus the Saints, a rating of 117.6, and most
NFL News Today.
streak ended, no interceptions or fumbles.
Goff lets it rip. A touchdown to Laporta. And a marvelous start to this game for Detroit.
Amon-Ra St. Brown was the lead.
After 2024 NFL Draft, Bears must pursue 3 free agents. After a strong NFL offseason, many believe the Chicago Bears are playoff candidates in 2024. Yes, even in the harsh NFC North. People's optimism about Chicago is hard to fault. The squad signed running back DeAndre Swift and tight end Gerald Everett in free agency and traded for wide receiver Keenan Allen from the Los Angeles Chargers. In addition, the Bears drafted USC quarterback Caleb Williams first and Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze ninth. Chicago now has a top-tier receiving core in DJ Moore, Allen, and Odunze, plus Cole Kmet and Everett at tight ends. Some consider Williams a generational quarterback, and the Bears' defense is solid. Chicago still has some roster issues. Remember that the Bears went 7-10 last year and have only made 2 postseason appearances since 2011. So, expect some tempering. They're not the Chiefs or 49ers. Luckily, Chicago can still sign free agents to fill gaps. Bears should consider these names. DL Calais Campbell. The Bears' pass rush is their biggest weakness. Chicago had only 30 sacks last season, second to worst in the NFL. The Bears did make a terrific midseason pickup, getting edge rusher Montez Sweat from the Washington Commanders at the trade deadline. Sweat had 6 sacks in 9 2023 Chicago games. Last season, Bears defensive tackle Justin Jones had 4.5 sacks, second on the team. He signed with the Arizona Cardinals in free agency, leaving the cupboard bare following Sweat. Chicago didn't fix the issue in free agency or the draft. The good news is Calais Campbell is still accessible. Campbell will be 38 when the season begins, although he had 56 tackles and 6.5 sacks with the Atlanta Falcons in 2023. Last year, he would have led the Bears in sacks. Given his 2023 productivity, Campbell's continued presence seems odd. Despite being elderly and not the same as his Jacksonville Jaguars days, he has shown he is still durable and efficient. Campbell would give Chicago's locker room much-needed veteran leadership. Bears fans have high hopes for 2024, which might be risky for a young club. Remember 2019's Cleveland Browns? Chicago needs pass rush and defensive front help. Campbell's signing would eliminate 2 birds. Offense guard Dalton Risner. The Bears also neglected their offensive line this offseason. Chicago started the summer with holes across the roster, so its inability to fill every hole is hardly a significant judgment on the front management. After all, money is limited. The offensive line isn't bad, but Nate Davis's struggles in 2023 suggest it needs more depth. Here comes Dalton Risner. Risner joined the Minnesota Vikings last summer after 4 years with the Denver Broncos. Both teams started him at guard, and he was quite good early in his Broncos career. Risner, 28, has declined in recent seasons, but he is still a serviceable offensive guard and likely the best free agent. Interestingly, he was available after the draft last year before joining the Vikings in mid-September. Does Risner last long this time? Hope not, if the Bears say so. Edge rusher Yannick Ngakoue. October 5, 2023, Landover, Maryland, Chicago Bears defensive end Yannick Ngakoue, 91, reacts after the FedEx Field game against the Washington Commanders. Brad Mills USA Today Sports. Yannick Ngakoue may be the greatest pure pass rusher available, and Chicago needs one. Ngakoue played in Chicago in 2023, so he's familiar. In his only season with the Bears, he had 22 tackles and 4 sacks, his worst NFL season. However, Ngakoue's quick decline seems unlikely. Just 29 years old, he had 9.5 sacks with the Indianapolis Colts 2 seasons ago. He had 10 sacks for the Raiders in 2021. Ngakoue's career is strange. The University of Maryland product has never had less than 8 sacks in a season, except for last year's Bears season. That would seem he'd last, but he hasn't. Since spending his first 4 years with the Jaguars from 2017 to 2020, Ngakoue has played for 5 different clubs, each for 1 season. Could Chicago change that? Few people discuss the Bears' thin defensive front seven. The hype around Williams and the offense may be to blame, but Chicago's secondary is good. However, you need to get to the other quarterback, and no Bears player other than Sweat can do it regularly. Chicago should sign Ngakoue for 1 year to restore his form before 2023.
Their play